Welcome, everyone, to a special edition of Living with the Times. For those who have been following this series, we try to connect what is happening in our lives, in the world, according to the holidays that are happening around us, connecting to the current Torah portions. And of course, right now, I want to relate to quite literally the current situation in Israel, living with the times. But here also, it's very, very connected to the holiday season that we just ended. And now we are about to launch into the year. Everyone asks, why don't we start reading from Bereshit, the beginning of the Torah, right after Rosh Hashanah? Rosh Hashanah is the new year. But we wait till after Simchat Torah because the 22 days between Rosh Hashanah and Simchat Torah is one flow. It's like one long process of tshuva. And here on Simchat Torah, there was, as everyone knows, a horrific attack on Israel. And put it this way, life as we know it in Israel, and I think we'll see this historically, a certain period has ended and a whole new reality is upon us. This, in a certain way, is our Yom Kippur War. It's almost exactly 50 years after the surprise attack on Yom Kippur. And yet, for those who know history, it wasn't a total surprise. There were differences of opinions among the intelligence communities whether an attack was about to happen or not. And in fact, it was known 24 hours before that there would be an attack. And the government of Israel, for various reasons, decided not to preempt, most likely in wanting the sympathy of the world. But what happened on Simchat Torah was truly a surprise. It was not foreseen, it was not expected, and the results are horrific. This is our generation's Yom Kippur. It's our 9/11. It's our Pearl Harbor. Meaning that whatever reality led up to this moment, everything is going to change now. And it will truthfully take years to see the full consequences of what is happening right now in Israel. And of course, it is a very difficult and traumatic time for the people in Israel, for Jews everywhere. But I want to convey a message of hope and optimism even in this darkness. And it is dark. It's a very painful reality that we are living through right now. And yet, we must see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when we look at Jewish history, we have, of course, gone through other horrific times, some of them lasting for years, and the consequences of various pogroms and crusades and expulsions and inquisitions, and of course the Holocaust. So here again, we don't know what is going to happen now, but I can say there is definitely a growing consensus in Israel that something dramatic has to change. And that means that this time we really have to destroy our enemies around us. We have always stopped short, and many times the world forced us to stop short. But right now, we're quite literally in an existential fight for survival, because the enemies surrounding us and being egged on by Iran, they want and express openly and fully their desire to destroy the state of Israel, which of course would mean another Holocaust in order to do that. And so any government worth the name of government, this time, as difficult as it's going to be, and it will not be short, we have to defeat the enemies around us, because that ultimately is the only way we're going to make peace. All of the Arab countries that have made peace with us is when they came to the conclusion that they could not defeat us, and it was in their better interests to have friendlier relationships with us than to go through another round of war. And this seems to be what has to happen now. There's a verse, Sur meira va'aseh tov. First, we have to turn from evil, or defeat evil, in order to get to peace. And truthfully, anything less than that would be even a greater tragedy than what has just happened in Israel. For those who are familiar with my teaching over many, many years, I always try to steer away from politics. I don't feel that in most cases politics and education are a good match. But we're in a different situation here. We're about to read Parshat Bereshit. There is something new happening. And even though this new situation, as I said, is extremely painful and traumatic, we will win. We will be victorious. Unfortunately, the cost already is too high, and it will get higher. But we really have no choice. At the end of the Torah, which we read on Simchat Torah, the whole congregation gets up and yells, Chazak, Chazak, v'nit Chazak. Be strong, and be strengthened. So even though my words are difficult, but my message is ultimately of hope and strength and optimism, that if we've learned anything from Jewish history, all the nations, all the empires that tried to destroy us are no longer in existence. But we are Am Yisrael Chai, and we will come through this, and we'll be stronger for it. And just pray that we have the strength to do what has to be done. And Chazak, Chazak, v'nit Chazak.